Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're continuing with Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter number 15, text number 18. We will conclude the chapter today. Yasma Sharam Atito Aham Aksharad Apichotamaha Ato Asmi Loki Vedecha Prathitaha Purushottamaha. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Because I am transcendental, beyond both the fallible and the infallible, and because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as that supreme person. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmaitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Thank you so much for joining. We will conclude chapter number 15 today. So these last three verses, 18, 19, and 20, Krishna is giving us the knowledge about the confidential part of the Vedas. What is it which is most confidential in the entire Vedic scripture? Now, in the verse that I read today, Krishna is again declaring that he is the Supreme Lord. Vedas, of course, have already declared that he is transcendental, he is greatest, he is celebrated. Lord Brahma, in his prayers says, Ishvara Parama Krishna, Satchidananda Vigraha, Anadir Adir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karanam. That Krishna, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and his form is Satchidananda, which is eternal, full of knowledge, and full of bliss. Because his form is spiritual. It's not like ours, which is made up of bones and blood, etc. In fact, if we see the meaning of God, it clearly states that God has no one who's equal to him or above him. And the Vedas also state, especially I do that when I go to visit a doctor for consultation, I look for the certificate on the wall. Is this doctor bona fide, certified? Is he qualified? Does he have the qualification? Similarly, the Vedas give us the knowledge about the qualifications of God. Aishwarasya samagrasya virasya yashashriya, that the Supreme Lord has 6 opulences in full, which nobody has except the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. You see? So he also, so that we can identify, like say tomorrow or even right now, if I tell you I am God, why would you believe me? Am I qualified? Do I have those 6 opulences in full? Absolutely not. So the Bhagavad Gita is here, Krishna is again declaring that he is the Supreme Lord. And it's important to understand that we are individuals and the Supreme Lord also is individual. Sometimes people say, oh, after death we merge into the body of God. No, we are individuals. The thing is, difference is that in this material world, we individual parts of the Supreme Lord, some of us are liberated and some of us are not. Some of us are bound up, you see. But both, whether we are liberated or not, we cannot be equal to Krishna. He is always superior to all living entities, you see. Last week, if you remember, we were learning about Krishna being situated as Supersoul in the heart of all living entities. See? And what are the activities of one who has assimilated all this knowledge? You see, we've been hearing. We heard about Krishna being the Supreme Lord, he being situated as Paramatma, Supersoul in the heart. Now, what do we do with that knowledge? See, now in the very next verse, number 19, Krishna says, whoever knows me as a supreme personality of Godhead. Supreme means no one above that person. Whoever knows me as the supreme personality of Godhead without doubting. There should be no doubt. Maybe he is, maybe he's not. I am not sure. No, no doubt at all. That person, Krishna says, is the knower of everything. And such a person, because of that knowledge, he engages in my full devotional service. This is what he's telling Arjuna. Perform full devotional service, this knowledge. So that means worshipping Krishna is not based on blind faith. No, it's based on knowledge from the Bhagavad Gita. So whoever knows everything. And what is the result? Because of that, that person is able to engage in full devotional service. I don't know if you remember in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita when we started, especially in the introduction, I had mentioned that there are 5 subject matters of Bhagavad Gita, and one of the subject matters is who is God? Because there's a lot of confusion. Many people come up with their own ideas about who is God. So here we have the bona fide, authoritative knowledge from God Himself declaring that He is God. So here in these last few verses of this chapter, number 15, Krishna is again declaring that He is indeed the Supreme Lord. See. Many like to speculate. Of God is not a subject matter of speculation where we say, maybe I have heard, according to me, here the bona fide knowledge from bona fide source. If we understand the purpose of Vedas, if you remember in this chapter itself, verse number 15, Krishna says, Vedas cha sarve aham eva vedyo vedanta krit vedavid eva chaham. He says Vedas, they are given to you by me. Krishna says, I am the compiler of the Vedas. And what's the purpose of the Vedas is to understand Krishna as the Supreme Lord, you see. So if we hear Bhagavad Gita with at least basic faith, then by mercy of Krishna, revelations will take place. You see, Prabhupada explains that the Vedic knowledge is called Shruti, which means learning by oral reception, hearing. Hearing is very, very important. So, hearing this knowledge from bona fide authority is very, very important, just like we are hearing from Krishna. He is the bona fide authority. Then he has already given us a parampara, a disciplic succession. Krishna spoke it to Brahma, Brahma spoke it to Narada, Narada spoke it to Vyasadeva. Like that, this knowledge is coming down in parampara. And so when we hear Bhagavad Gita from Krishna or his representatives, then we will be able to understand him. You see, the most confidential part of the Vedas is Krishna. Now, Vedas, Prabhupada says, they are considered like a mother. And mother is the only one who can tell us who is our father. If I haven't seen my father ever in my life and I want to know who is he, then the best person to ask is my mother, because she is the only one who knows who is my father. I can ask her for proof. Can she give me proof? No, I have to believe her words. I have to have that basic faith. That is what Krishna is explaining. Actually, in the very last verse of this chapter, which is verse number 20, even in 19, in fact, in verse number 19, Krishna uses a word called bhajati. Bhajati means to engage in devotional service. See, we are serving every day. We are serving our spouse, our children, our family, our country, our society, our relatives, our friends, our boss. We are serving. So, Prabhupada is saying, since we are already serving, why not serve the Supreme Lord from whom we get everything? And Bhagavad Gita is teaching us the process of worshipping. You see, Srila Prabhupada in verse number 19 states that this knowledge, that means this knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita, is the fruit of the Vedas. You know, if I want the rose essence, what I need to do, there are two options. One is I grow a rose garden. I spend hours and hours and days and weeks to grow roses, and then when they're blooming, pluck them, and then crush them, or I don't know what is the procedure, but that's how I believe essence is attained. But another option is I can just go to the store and buy already made rose essence, right? And that is so powerful. Just a drop of that can really give a lot of fragrance. So Prabhupada is saying that Bhagavad Gita is the fruit of the Vedas. And one who can know the Bhagavad Gita is the knower of everything. Why? Because it's the essence of the Vedic literature. You see, and to be able to understand, we need both theory and practicals. So theory we do every Sunday in the morning when we hear the Bhagavad Gita, and practical is when we put Bhagavad Gita into practice, and it starts with mantra meditation. Now, the last verse of this chapter, number 20, Krishna says, this is the most confidential part of the Vedic scriptures, O sinless one. He addresses Arjuna as Anagha, means sinless one, someone who is sin free. He is not committing any sinful activities. So Krishna is saying this is the most confidential part of the Vedic literatures, and it is disclosed now by me. And then Krishna says, whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection. This is the process of becoming perfect. Now, when he's talking about this, he's not talking about academic knowledge. He's talking about spiritual knowledge. You see, we may be very well versed academically. We may have big degrees, maybe MBAs, PhDs, or whatever. No, here he's talking about spiritual knowledge, and this is the most confidential part of the Vedas. And Krishna is saying, I'm disclosing it to you now. So if you want to become wise, not materially, spiritually, if you want to become wise spiritually, then we need to perform full devotional service. We need to understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that is the purpose of the Vedic literature. Now, there are thousands of verses in the whole Vedic literature. It's not possible for one person to read the Vedas in one lifetime. It's so vast. So that is why the essence is given to us within just 700 verses. You see? So this very last verse of this chapter, Krishna is summarizing the whole chapter 15. And this whole chapter 15 is called Purushottama Yoga. It's a yoga. Yoga means connection, connecting with the Supreme Lord. So anyone who understands Krishna as a Supreme Lord and serves him with devotion, the result will be wisdom and perfection. These two will be the result. Now, what about those who do not want to serve Krishna? Prabhupada explains, however intelligent one may be in estimation of others. Like I may think, oh, so and so is very, very intelligent. But that person is not perfectly intelligent if that person doesn't realize the purpose of human form of life. Only the intelligent. See, human beings have got this philosophical intelligence by which they can, distinguish between right and wrong, what ought to be done and what not to be done. See, so intelligent people realize the purpose of human form of life, and they follow the path that will help them to end all miseries permanently. And see, so to understand this chapter, which is called Purushottama Yoga, we need to become sinless. That means we need to chant the holy names of the Lord. That will help us to cleanse our heart, to remove all the sinful reactions, to purify our senses, our mind. You see, and then we can become sinless. And Bhagavad Gita is showing us how to do that. So this chapter is discussing how we can break ourselves, remove ourselves from all material attachments. Now one may say, hey, I love my family. How can I just give up my family? I love my friends. I love my country. That's not what Krishna is talking about. He's talking about attachment. Affection will still be there, but attachment needs to be removed. Why? Because attachments lead to suffering. Attachment. And important to understand that Krishna is the source of all. We learned this in chapter 10, where Krishna says, Aham Sarvasya Prabhu. Everything emanates from me. Everything comes from me, whether it is living entities, planets, material nature, everything emanates from Krishna. And that is chapter number 10. You see? And he is the maintainer. Of course, if you remember in 11th chapter, we understood the universal form, that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in this chapter, we are learning that he's situated in everyone's heart as the super soul, and he is the maintainer of all living entities. So what should be the purpose of a human being? To lead this human form of life perfectly, and then get liberated from all the miseries that are there in this material world: birth, disease, old age, death, miseries caused by body and mind, miseries caused by other living entities, miseries caused by material nature. You see, so if one wants to become free from all miseries, lead a misery-free life, then one has to become perfect and get liberated. And the best way is to surrender to the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. That is the way to liberation. And the easy way to surrender is to do mantra meditation. So when we try to understand the Bhagavad Gita, the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita, and then put that into practice, which means perform devotional service, we become contamination free, no more contamination. Because this whole process of bhakti yoga is to help us to get purified, to help us to get spiritual understanding. You see? And this mantra meditation that we do is nothing material. It is within the internal energy of the Supreme Lord. But of course, as we have noticed that anything we want to learn in this world, we need a teacher. I want to learn dancing, music, software, karate, judo, whatever it may be. A teacher is essential. Someone who is certified, who is experienced, and who is following what they are teaching. So, similarly, to understand Bhagavad Gita, also, we need guidance from a teacher. And here, Arjuna, seeing him as Anagha, means O sinless one, which means we also need to become free of sins, free from all kinds of contamination, and make sure that we do not sin anymore, right? Once there is cleansing, then it's good to make sure that we do not get dirty again, right? And devotional service, which starts with mantra meditation, can help one to become pure. Pure in mind, pure in senses, pure in heart, pure in body, pure in intelligence also. And if we, perform devotional service, do bhakti yoga in association of, spiritually minded people, devotees, then it becomes easier, you see. The thing is, like in the beginning of the chapter, beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna, give up weakness of heart. He's telling Arjuna, who's a pure devotee of the Lord, give up the weakness of heart. That is our problem. Our heart is very weak. I'm not talking that it's not pumping blood or whatever. The heart is weak in the sense we are not determined to attain the perfection of human life. You see, mind is distracted. It's distracted from the path of perfection. It's distracted from bhakti yoga. So Bhagavad Gita is teaching us how we can conquer the weakness of heart. And the first thing to realize is, I am not the supreme. I am not the controller. Usually people feel that, oh, I am the maintainer of my family. I am the controller. I am this and I am that. No, we need to give up this I consciousness. I, me and mine. You see, the tendency is there to control everyone around us. But that mentality can distract us from Bhakti Yoga. So Bhagavad Gita is teaching us how we can become perfect on this path of Bhakti Yoga. It is teaching us how to make our hearts very strong. It is teaching us, with the help of the process, how to free ourselves from different kinds of miseries. You see? So that is why Krishna has given us the most confidential part of the Vedas. If if one can understand that, one's life will become simple and sublime. And what is that most confidential part? That Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. See, intelligent people, they know that there is a God, there is a creator. And Bhagavad Gita is just giving us the name, is telling us who is he. Bhagavad Gita is telling us his name is Krishna. His telephone number is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. His address is Goloka Vrindavan. Everything, all information is there if we want to get in touch with him, if we want to contact him. You see? So Bhagavad Gita, if we hear with an open mind and then think about what Krishna is saying, contemplate on it, and then decide, is it something I would like to pursue? Yes, but Bhakti Yoga seems very practical. I would like to follow it. Or one may start contemplating, is it beneficial for me? Is it something I want to pursue? Well, there is a very nice example given by Srila Prabhupada. He says, The taste of the pudding is in its eating. Or let's say there is a bottle of honey. And if a person is just trying to lick the outside part, the bottle, he's not going to taste the sweetness of the honey. He's got to open it and then taste the honey and then say, aha, it's very sweet. Similarly, Bhagavad Gita, we need to hear with an open mind, and that's when we will get the taste. And that's when we will say, yes, this is the path that is going to lead me to perfection. There's no harm in trying to hear it. I mean, you don't have to do this knowledge is free. You didn't have to buy a ticket to come on Zoom or Facebook. You didn't have to pay anything. It's free. Krishna is giving this knowledge free to us. So there's no harm in hearing it. There's no loss, but there is a great gain. You see? And I am telling you this because I have experience, especially in this year 2025. I complete 40 years of hearing Bhagavad Gita. I started learning Bhagavad Gita 40 years ago, 4 decades ago. And because it is so sublime, it is giving so much peace and happiness that I still read it and I still teach it. So the proof of the pudding is in its eating. So let's give Bhakti Yoga a try. Let's give Bhagavad Gita a try, you see, and try to understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All the Vedic scriptures declare it. Whether it is Srimad Bhagavatam, Brahma Samhita, Bhagavad Gita, you just name it, it's there. Even the Puranas declare that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, and that is the most confidential part of the Vedas. So, with this verse number 20, we end the chapter called Purushottama Yoga, or the Yoga of the Supreme. So, I'm going to end now. If anyone has any questions or comments, you are very welcome to ask.